Hello, good morning. You are watching QTV this morning. I am Ibrahim Osuri Balde. Wherever you're watching us, welcome to this program. A program where we bring you current affairs and, review some of the stories making headlines. Our newspaper review guests, we call them people who understand issues, the likes of Mr. Ade, the likes of Mr. Mboj, the likes of Seth Mati Jau, MS of the GPU, and of course, other figures like Mr.
Malika.
Yes, so we've been here for many years now, and we are hoping to continue doing this for you for the coming years, inshallah. Yes, so on the program today, I'm joined by Julde Njai. Julde, how are you? How have you been? You are all Ghana today.
She's rocking Kente.
Kente! Oh, they call this Kente.
Kente.
Okay.
It's
a
a
Ghanaian name.
Ghanaian. It's Kente all over
I
the
love
world.
it.
It's their original
Thank you.
Ghanaian design.
I'll say something
Designs,
about
thank
Julde. She is a young lady that when she puts on anything, it fits her. Yeah. See, I mean, sometimes people are created that way. There are people that, you know, even if they put on the simplest thing, it looks beautiful.
I'm them.
Cool,
Aw,
Yeah, and she is one of them.
I'm here blushing now. Thank you very much, Ibrahim. I must say I miss you so much.
Yes,
And I miss
same
sharing
here.
this platform with you and Mr. Ade. Good morning to our viewers, our beautiful viewers, our
Indeed.
wonderful
Our
viewers.
wonderful
I've not been
viewers.
saying my
Wonderful,
cliche.
and you haven't. But
I'm not
I think we
saying-
intimidated you into
Yeah.
dropping it. But
Yeah.
it's your signature.
Yeah, it's my thing.
Yes.
Yeah.
So good morning, my wonderful viewers.
Yeah, quite.
From wherever you're watching us from. It's always good to be back in this platform, to be here with Mr. Ade and, of course, Ibrahim Abalde.
Yes.
Yeah, so Mr. Ade, what's up? What's going on?
Yeah,
man?
fine. And to those people in the UK who've been watching who were saying, how come we don't see you? I hadn't disappeared or been kidnapped or anything like that. I'm here. Other things were taking me away from this platform. So I'm here, second time this week. So yes, glad to be here.
Exactly.
Glad
We
to
are
be
here
Yeah.
again trying to bring you your favorite, stories and, of course, community watch, to discuss among ourselves. And we are inviting sponsors to come on board and sponsor this program. Anything that is put on this program will definitely sell. So it's important for us to, get sponsors on board on this program so that we would definitely bring you more stories to review. Yes, on the program today, we'll take a look at the African code, and of course from the African code, then we will take a look at the newspaper review, and of course we were supposed to have a segment, but I am afraid that segment might not come.
Okay, so
we
we won't tease them
so
with what that segment was.
Exactly. So
Yes.
we are going to extend the newspaper review.
I'm glad to hear that.
Yes, it used to be 25 minutes, but I am afraid we might go up to some minutes.
You shouldn't say I'm afraid. You should say I'm delighted.
I'm delighted. Okay.
am.
All right. I'm just worried about you.
I'm fine.
Exactly. So we'll also focus on something that is really causing a big havoc currently to the youth
what is
of Africa, especially
Right.
the sub-region. That's the Kush.
Oh yes.
We dedicated, this month or this week to sensitize people about the dangers of Kush. We understand it is really causing a very severe damage when it comes to, and the reason, my main problem about the Kush is, you've seen people taking the Kush, dying.
You've seen the effects.
You've seen the effects.
and yet you still
And
go
you still
take it.
continue
People
taking
are
it.
weird like that. human
I don't
beings.
understand the type of human beings we have. Sometimes,
But human beings are like that. There are many things, not just Kush.
Kush, yeah.
Lots of things that are dangerous. You see people do it and they injure themselves or they die. And it didn't stop people taking it. And you and I, we've had this discussion before. We've seen hundreds, if not thousands, drown trying to get to Europe. But does it stop people? It doesn't.
It doesn't.
Human beings are like that. Just because something is dangerous, they always think that they'll be the one who will escape the danger or escape the death.
And you know, on the program
From
today, very interestingly, we are going to engage one recovering
Kush addict. Kush addict.
Kush
yes.
addict
Yes.
by the name Suleiman Jaing. So he will be on the program here. You know, we will talk to him. You know, he will share his story with us. Yeah. So on that note, let's take a look at the African code. And Julde, we give you the honor to read it out. And
So,
simultaneously, we would like you to interpret for us.
I think so. I think we have to give her the first go.
I'm coming last. Guys, I'm coming last. I want
Today
to
you are
plagiarize
interpreting
your thoughts.
you are interpreting the proverb for us. I gave you that honor.
Exactly. You can't
Run
reject.
the
You
woman
can't.
rule.
Please do, Julde.
You cannot reject the honor.
So,
Ladies first. It applies here. Ladies first.
Absolutely.
I don't
Go.
even know. Okay, let me
So
have a look.
take it away.
Okay, our African code this morning is if you close your eyes to the. No, I'm reading the wrong
You
one.
Oh, you're,
Ah.
when the cock is drunk, he forgets the hawk.
Hawk.
Okay, when the cock is drunk, he forgets the hawk.
Yes.
Mr. Ade?
You know what hawk is?
Of course.
In our
Yeah,
local
that's-
language.
Oh, in our local language.
Yes. Fulanis, we call it segelere.
Segalere.
Yes.
Okay.
It carry small chickens.
That's right.
Yes.
It's a bird of prey.
Yeah.
Prey,
It's a
yeah.
bird of prey. And what it's telling us in the literal sense, of course, is that, you know, the chickens will be in danger if, you know, you're not paying attention. But it could apply to anything.
Anything.
It's like if you miss out on something, for example, you don't lock your house, and then they break in, well, not even break in, they just open the door and they come and steal, or you don't even tie your cow. Because you think, oh, well, you know, Allah has provided me with this cow, Allah will protect the cow. The cow's nature is to walk away or wander away, and you didn't secure it, and off it goes. So, you know, there are certain details you need to look after and not get drawn into, you know, the moment and say, oh, you know. But yes, I mean, if the cock is drunk, I don't know how the cock will get drunk if you've been drinking alcohol or something, but I think generally it's just telling you that you should be mindful of dangers and you know, and sometimes you know, it can happen to all of us in a moment of joy or ecstasy or delight or whatever. You forget about things that you should be securing or taking care of and so on. You know, we've seen it recently where, you know, people have been driving and they're all excited and they're not paying attention to the danger on the road. They either hit somebody or they get hit because, you know, in that moment of excitement and so on, they're not paying attention to other things and potential danger. And of course, in the literal sense, the hawk is the danger that the cock should be paying attention to and mindful of. Yes, absolutely.
Pay attention to little things.
To little things, and that will help you protect.
Very
Yeah.
significant.
The things
We've
that
seen
are-
people that lost big things because they didn't. Yeah, they didn't take note.
Tiniest of
Take
detail.
heed of. And that's it. So, Julia, you've already interpreted. Already, can you please help us so that we can understand your own?
She was going to
aspect?
plagiarize. I'm not sure there's anything there to plagiarize from
Plagiarize.
mine. Mine was all over the place. So
So, okay, I just what Mr. Ade's interpretations is, I will also say the same thing, that is paying attention to small details, especially if you have a child. You know, you're not taking care of the child and then you're just letting go of certain things. You see your child develop certain behaviors and you're just letting it go, believing that these are things that are minor, or, you know, maybe the person is a small child. You know, but these are the small behaviors that will culminate to something very, very big. And at the end of the day, once that child is grown, you can't control the person. You know, you lose control of your own child. And we've seen lots of scenarios like that in society. You see people just have their children and just leave them do whatever they want to do.
and it's something I always hate when I hear young parents, particularly these days, saying, "Oh, you know, I can't control my child." I'm thinking, what? You know, you should,
because you weren't paying attention.
This
to,
is it.
Yeah.
You know, they do little things, and they might start doing the little naughty things at home that you let them get away with. They go out into the school, or they go into the street, and they think they can take those same liberties, and the streets or school will teach them. But it shouldn't get to that point. You, the parents, should
be
have told
ahead
them what their boundaries are and what the limits are and what the lines are that they shouldn't cross.
Well,
Because if you don't, the comeback might be quite severe.
One thing I believe, parents cannot teach their children 100%.
No, that's impossible.
Parents can only do 75%. And the rest of the thing, before you grow, you get to 18, at some point you are already you've already adopted to that lifestyle that your parents showed you. We've seen people, that's why it's important to be very responsible parents. It's important sometimes certain things you do away with it in the house. We've seen people, that parents that smoke weed, ganja. Their kids grew and they became heavy smokers of ganja.
Because they
And at the same time, those parents will be blaming that child.
Yeah.
I mean, you smoke a lot, you do a lot. I mean, without knowing that child adopted to that environment. You know.
I heard a very interesting...
The little things we do, it's very important,
It's
especially
important.
this area of technology.
Well, that's the point I was going to come to, because I heard a documentary on the BBC 2 days ago, and there was a group of women who were talking about how, almost accidentally, they kind of realized that they were spending too much time on their phone and their children were spending too much time on their phone. And so what they decided to do was actually get to a point where they then started setting boundaries and rules that you can use your phone for 10 minutes in the morning, 10 minutes in the evening, 10 minutes at night, and that's it. The rest of the time you have to put it away and just interact. And so in one family, not only did they do that for that, they did it for a whole week. And one of them was the journalist who was actually presenting, Kenyan journalist, I forget her name at the moment. And she was saying that, look, she said it's quite ironic I'm saying to people, put away your smartphones, because I'm about to give you a smartphone number to contact us with your stories. She said, but we did away, and so they spoke to her children. And one of the children, quite young, about 10 years old, said, look, the phone is not real. And we spend a lot of time in the unreal world on social media and so on. And she said, there were certain things I missed, but she said, you know, I wasn't craving for my phone. So what they also did was they got the parents to attend a series of sessions where every time they came in, they had to put their phone in a little safe and then just interact without their phones, without looking for it, for several hours, for the whole day. And then she said at the end, she saw people rushing to queue to go and get your phones. But she said what was interesting about it was they then exchanged numbers with each other to keep in touch by phone. Wow. But you know, but she said, you know, we have become so used to the phone, but you know, all of them, when they related their stories, they said that we've allowed our children too much leeway, that now the phone completely dominates their lives, and you take it away from them. It's like a drug addict who's been denied his or her drugs, and they're you know, shivering like, I'm missing out on messages, you know. They call it the FOMO, fear of missing out.
I am definitely a guilty person when it comes to phones.
I'm glad you said it yourself.
I wish I can have a solution, you know, to my phone addict. I'm so addicted to mobile phones. And, you know, I think at some point it will delay a lot of things.
I'm smiling because I once made the joke to Balde. I said, if we decide to do a statue of him, this will be the statue.
This will be the statue.
you know. So,
lots of phone addicts.
There are quite a lot.
We have a problem.
I remember once I came to work and I left I have two phones, one with my UK number, one with my Gambia number. And I accidentally left them, and people were freaking out around me. You should go home and get them.
I asked Mr. Ade, what about your phone? He said to me, don't worry.
Like, you know,
and he doesn't even worry about the phone.
Like seriously, you know, when I get home, I'll pick them up.
These days, can't imagine a day without my phone.
These days, this generation, phone is
and
our life.
Guess what? I didn't die.
But this is our, you know, we believe this is our life.
I know.
If you cut us from our phones, from the internet, we will be sick.
I think with myself and others of my age, we have grown up in an age where this was a fantasy. You know, we never imagined, and we lived without it for up to how many years? I was like 50 before
Yeah,
mobile
I
phones
agree.
became a
I
general
agree.
thing.
Yeah.
The
So-
1950s bonds.
quite,
My dad doesn't
you know,
mind.
I'm
He got a
1955,
smartphone,
so-
but
so I mean-
sometimes he will place it in the house. You even
House
forgot
and
dad
go.
got a phone.
Yeah.
And
He doesn't use it.
even when I, in fact, today I was actually, in fact, it's interesting we're having this conversation because I was actually going to, my social media post today was going to be a photograph of the 5 very first phones that I have. I have all of them. I always keep them just as kind of, you know, souvenirs. And I have all of them, and I took a picture of all of them lined up, and I was going to post it on Facebook and on Twitter saying, you know, my first 5 mobile phones. But the first one I had, for the first month, I kept leaving it at home. Once I went to send money to Sierra Leone, and I left it at the money transfer place. Only when I got back, and I was thinking, oh, where's my phone? I was so unused to having it. And this was long after all my friends had gotten mobile phones. I mean, in London. I just hadn't seen the need for it. And then one day my fiancée said, you know, one day I might need to get in touch with you, and it's urgent, please. And then for my birthday, she bought me a phone. So, aye. That was when I got my phone. But I kept leaving it everywhere until I got used to having it around. So even that phone is in the picture.
Yeah, I mean, there is a lot of tools, a lot of educational stuff in the internet. While we are addicted
Glad you said it.
to mobile phones, we should also make the best use of them.
Yeah.
You know, educate ourselves, learn new things every day, and all of that. But it's unfortunate that our generation is a generation of TikTok. We spend the whole day.
Social media generally,
yeah, but TikTok
including
is
TikTok.
becoming worse. Like wherever even elderly people see them on their
It
TikTok
used to be
viewing
Instagram,
videos.
and then now it's Instagram, TikTok, and so
TikTok,
on. But you're right. I mean, you go on something like, I don't know how many billion people are on Facebook, for example. I keep hearing that Facebook is gone and it still has 4 billion people on there. So I'm not sure how badly they're doing. But, you know, we become used to it, you're right. I mean, a lot of if you go on Facebook, you'll see that a lot of the stuff I post is kind of historical stuff. So yesterday, for example, I posted some stuff from the West India Regiment that went and fought in Sierra Leone. And there were pictures from 1892 to 1898. Just that kind of telling people about their history. And I like to find things that people aren't always aware of, that unusual stuff. So, for example, my next 2 stories, which I won't mention here for the BBC until people see them, they're very unusual stories about Africa that a lot of people don't know. One of them relates to the Gambia, by the way.
Interesting.
Yeah.
All right.
All will be revealed.
All right,
Can't
all
wait.
right. At this point, we'll have to relax at the end of the time. Let's take a short break.
Yeah.
After the break, then we will take
Delve
a look at
into
stories. I'm
newspaper
seeing
stories. Lots
quite
of interesting.
very interesting and packed newspaper headlines.
Indeed.
So we'll be right back after the break.
Do your banking the smart way with the new Ajibank mobile app. Transfer money to any bank account in the Gambia. Top up airtime for all networks. Pay utility bills. Check your account balance and view mini statements. Request for ATM cards. Request for checkbooks and more in a single touch. So, do your banking in a smart way. Do your banking now with Ajibank mobile app. Every time is banking time. Ajibank, your investment partner.
As the fastest growing GSM company in the Gambia, QCell has the widest 4G plus coverage in the country, 3 times faster internet speed than our competitors. So switch now and dial *335# and enjoy what true 4G feels like. QCell, the Gambia's trusted network.
This is QTV This Morning. I am Ibrahim Osuri Balde, and on the platform, I'm with Julden Jai. We are presenting this program to you. And our newspaper review guest is Mr. Adi Drame.
We'll call her Julde
He is our
Ghana
friend.
woman in Jai today. Yes.
You know, so he is our friend.
Ghanaian.
No issues today, no problem, Mr. Ade.
Ghana lady.
And he looks
No
as
problem.
gentle as a dove.
Yeah, so far so good.
It's very deceptive.
No problem. Yeah, so let's take a look at this story.
Yes, which one?
The Standard.
Let's take a look at the
Point
missing 10-year-old found dead at Manjai Bridge.
Yeah, I was saying before we came on, you know, for the parents, that's the most tragic thing that you can, if your child is missing for a few days, your hope will always be that that child will be found and the child will be found safe. And then to get news that the child has been found, but found dead, for a parent, that would be, you know, must be, and for the family, you know, tragic and devastating news. I'm not sure what the circumstances are, but we were saying that because of the heavy rains, we saw lots of places where the waters had risen. So I'm not sure whether the child fell in, drowned or whatever, but they said by the bridge. And I remember passing by the bridge, and when it rained Saturday and Sunday, the water level was very high. It was very high. And in some parts of the road, it was like you're driving through a river, you know, and yeah, I mean, anybody who drives in this area would have experienced the same, and it's really not been good. So I'm not sure what the circumstances are, but tragic circumstance for sure.
Some more reason why parents should be extra vigilant, especially during this time of the rainy season. And like I was saying before we come in, like a friend of mine told me that Saturday's rains, you know, left a child drowned, like a child drowned on Saturday in Bundung, somewhere around Bundung area. So I think, you know, when it is raining, we should always ensure that our
Take
kids...
care of our kids, yeah.
I know it's summertime, kids are not going to school and all of that.
It's
but
the rain season.
Yeah, it's the rainy season.
You know, and for me, and I was discussing this with our colleague Choi, I said in Liberia, for example, they don't use this as their longest holiday, school vacation. They go to school during the rain season because the temperatures are cooler. Yes, it's harder to get to school because of weather conditions, but the only reason we have this, and that's why we keep saying summer, is because the colonizers wanted to go to Europe for the European summer. It's summer there, it's not summer here. It's the rain season here. But we keep saying summer, but it's not summer. Because that's the hottest and driest period in Europe. So they wanted to go there, and it's their summer, it's not our summer. Really, we go to school at a time when it is hot and unbearable. In some of the schools, we don't even have air conditioning. In most of them, we don't have air conditioning. Those are not conducive for learning, really. So in Liberia, I mean, I know this because growing up, we used to go there, and I had cousins there. And, you know, they just found it weird that our longest holiday was not in the dry, unbearably hot period. It was in the rain season, where for them it was the other way around. You know, I don't know whether they've regulated it. They might have changed it because if they want to take part in WAEC, then they have to have a kind of standard kind of school thing. So they may have changed it subsequently, but certainly in the 1960s, growing up, you know, my cousins would come from Liberia on holiday whilst we were still going to school. Yeah, and
well, it's important to, I mean, watch your children wherever they go. There is an incident that happened around my neighborhood not long ago. A mother left a baby in the house, 3-month-old baby. So the mother left for the market. It's this market women. Early morning, around 6 a.m. When she left, someone came inside the house and took the baby away.
Wow.
Can you imagine? And took the baby away. Like the person took the baby from, let's say, QTV and dumped the baby around Westfield. You know, so when they realized in the morning, the baby wasn't there, and there was a commotion around Westfield. Who owns this baby? Who owns this baby? Who owns this baby? Then at some point, that it connected.
Right, right.
this area, they realize there's a baby there, they've not seen
And
their
there's a baby missing there.
So they went and found it's their baby.
Wow.
So people can get into your house, do whatever. Take your kids.
Yeah.
So that's why you shouldn't only leave kids alone in the house.
It's not.
I mean,
you know.
and one of the reasons I mentioned the holiday period particularly is because this is the holiday season. So even when the children are on holiday, a lot of the parents are working. And so it's very difficult to supervise your children if you're at work and they're on their you know, vacation, school vacation. It's very, very difficult. If you have them attending rain season or what they call summer school here, then that's easier because you know where they're going to be. But other than that, you leave home, you go to work, you leave them in the house. You don't know what they're getting up to, and you don't know what dangers lurk. But it's very difficult. It's a very difficult situation for parents because sometimes both parents might need to work just to bring in enough to get those.
So what are the NAMs saying again?
They're always saying something.
I'm seeing them. NAMs leads evidence into GAM Petroleum.
No, NAM, singular.
Yes, NAM. Okay, it's NAM. They lead evidence into GAM Petroleum's $30 million saga.
This one, I can't recall the exact details of this, but it's been running for a long time. Because I think it's the one involving Jar Oil. Yeah, it's been going back and forth. I'd like to sort of delve into this and find out what it is because it's. I'm not sure we've gotten clarity even after several months of talking about it and investigations into it. There've been claims and counterclaims around it, and yeah, it's not going to go away anytime soon. So it seems, yeah. Yeah.
So this is a story that we did yesterday in our news. It has to do with the people who were deported, who are expected to be deported to back to their countries. Gambian migrants stranded, others arrested in Algiers. Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, these were stranded in Algiers. They probably mean Algeria rather than Algiers. Algiers is the capital. I'm not sure that's where they're stranded. But yeah, it's, you know, we were saying, you know, there's this thing where people think they can cross, and I heard of somebody who the person went as far as Tunisia and they weren't able to get across to Europe, and they've decided to come back to the Gambia. They've given up, essentially, because life was hard for them there. And they didn't see any prospect, because the amount that the traffickers were demanding to get them across to Europe on these rickety boats, and with no guarantee that you'll get there safely or get there at all, was too much for them, and they thought they would never be able to get that money.
To get that money.
And so the person has,
you know, the chances of making it is 50-50.
Less than that.
Yes.
Less than that. You know, so the person has decided to come back. But yeah. Yeah.
So Madi Jobate asked Barrow and Dabo to return state land.
Yeah, state lands. There have been a lot of stories recently that both the president and the leader of the main opposition had acquired state lands. And if anybody watched State of Affairs yesterday, they would have seen the information minister, Dr. Ismaila Cisse, kind of defending it, saying that they are Gambians and they're entitled to apply for land. But our colleague Aliou Cisse was making the point that if I'm the person who receives the application, one application says Ibrahima Balde, QTV. The other one says Adama Barrow, President of the Republic. The other one says Ousainou Darboe, Leader of the Opposition. And there's one piece of land. Which one do you think you stand a chance of getting it against those two men?
My chances of getting
we have to be realistic.
My chances of getting it will be -1.
Well, this is it.
-1.
So we have to be realistic. But the minister was saying, you know, any Gambian can apply, and any Gambian is entitled to. And Ali was making the point that a lot of these people, when they're National Assembly members and so on, they get allocated land anyway. They can buy land. They shouldn't be given
Yeah,
free
they
government
have
land.
what it
And that's the
means,
point he
what
was
it
trying to
takes,
make.
yeah.
I don't understand.
And you know, as I said, Dr. Ismaila Cisse was defending it and said, well, but so yeah, I think we have to live in the real world. That in the real world, the
Sure.
example I've just given, if the land is between you and the president, I suspect the person dishing out the land will give it to
We
him
have
rather
the
than to you.
phones here.
Let's
Yeah.
be honest.
You can get 1,000,
Yeah.
the whole phone.
Yeah, yeah.
For me, my only issue is state
State land,
lands.
yeah.
That's
Yeah.
the only
Because
issue
there are
that I have.
certain amounts of state land that can be given out.
Allocated
That can be
to-
allocated.
Yeah.
People can
Authorities,
apply.
yes.
People can apply.
Mm.
People can apply. And that's the point that the minister was making when he said, you know, any Gambian citizen can apply, which is true. It's true. But to pretend it's a level playing field, I'm sorry, it's
not a
a
level
nonsense.
playing field,
it
it's not.
simply is not. It simply is not. So,
Yeah.
you know, so Mahdi is saying that these gentlemen should set an example and give back. I
We
suspect.
need to go back to the
It
drawing
won't
board.
happen.
Because it can't be always like that. Like any government that comes will take lands and all of that. You know, if Jammeh should take a lot of, you know, the state lands, Barrow also the same thing. The other person who is coming,
But
the same
the
thing.
difference is they're not saying he took it. It was allocated to him. There's
Yeah.
a process. You
It's an
apply.
allocation.
You apply and you get an allocation. You
Yeah.
don't seize it. That's not what anybody is alleging.
Alleged.
What they're saying is that they should not really. They should leave it for civil servants and others.
Who are
But yeah, you know, like I said, Mahdi is saying they should
So
return
people-
it, but
I mean, people might
I'd
not
be very
think-
surprised if that happens.
People might not
doubt.
take it as it's a fair thing. I've even seen, you know, one of the UDP supporters, maybe a part of their youth wing. I've seen a message that he shared on the Fatu network
Right.
that he is not happy.
That
you
his
know.
leader, party leader.
Yes.
Yes.
that,
I saw a similar
this
message,
land.
and he's saying that, you know,
Yeah, so-
his party leader should set an example and
Exactly.
return that.
Exactly.
But like I said, and as the minister said, they're entitled to apply as long as they've not done anything illegal.
Illegal.
I think
No, it's not.
I think we need to make that point.
It's not.
It's just that people feel uneasy
Easy.
about it. That people who are this prominent and in such positions
and the location.
and the location.
The locations raise eyebrows.
Yeah. So yeah, like I said, another one that won't go away anytime soon. But yeah. So any other stories?
That is what it is.
Yeah.
It is what it is.
Nam-
Six arrested for robberies at Burfoot Heights.
Burfoot Heights. Yeah. We had these people paraded, and it was alleged that they have been targeting certain areas. They had 3 brand new shining cutlasses with them, and I'm sure it wasn't for cutting grass. And they had other older looking, deadly looking implements, and they also had a toy gun which looked like a real one. And the police were alleging that these people had been involved in a series of robberies. And they'd been tipped off, and they managed to apprehend them. And when they apprehended them, they found all these like sinister looking weapons, really. I mean, it's the old thing about, you know, if I have a cutlass, what is to say that I'm not going to use it to cut
Use
grass?
it, yeah.
You know, but, you know, they probably can't prove that they were intending to cut grass rather than use it to scare people.
Scare people.
So, you know, they said they'd raided homes, and I think in one case they'd injured somebody, and they've been apprehended. I guess now it will be for the courts to determine whether they are, you know, they've been arraigned, or they will be arraigned, and then they will be tried and they found guilty of
Well,
sentence.
I think when it comes to crime, when it comes to police visibility, those areas should be targeted very well.
Well, the police made the
Burfoot
point.
Heights, the likes of Kololi,
Kololi,
you know,
Jabang.
The
those
police,
remote
Yeah.
areas. Yes.
well, they said kind of, you know, Greater Banjul and the West Coast
West
region.
Coast region.
So what they're doing is they're increasing their visibility, particularly with night patrols, in what they call hotspots, crime hotspots. So where people, and they're urging the public, if you're aware or you see something suspicious, call us. I mean, unfortunately, we don't have what they have in most countries, the 999 in the UK. You just call.
What happened to their 117?
Yeah, I'm not sure many people use it.
Use that,
we have to be
yeah.
honest. You know.
The last time I called the 117, it was switched off.
We tried it. I remember you did. You know, so you know that needs to be active, And in England, they don't mess around with that. You know, the minute you call, it's recorded. They press. You know, the minute you get through, and then they ask you, "What do you want? Fire, police, ambulance, whatever." You know, and then they put you through to the particular service, and then somebody will start asking you questions. What is it you want to report, and so on. And that's very, very. It runs very, very smoothly. And we need something like that here,
Like
but we
that,
don't.
yeah.
I mean, I remember one of our
These are
colleagues.
normally toll-free numbers.
Yeah, yes, they are. All of them totally. They have to be, you know, because if you don't have any credit, you should still be able to call that number, you know. But I remember one of our colleagues was their house was they were attempting to burgle their house, and the burglars were trying to force their way, and it took the police 45 minutes
To get there.
to get there. And that's a house that is about a 1 minute walk from the stadium, by the way. At 45 minutes it took the police to get there. And anyway, one of the reasons they couldn't is because
Vehicle.
mobility, and they couldn't, there was no address, so they had to try and direct them. And that's one of our colleagues, about 2 years ago. I remember it very, very vividly, because he was shaken by the experience, because the people were banging on the door, trying to force their way, even when they knew that the people inside the house were awake and alert to the fact that they were trying to break in. They were still trying to force it in. And, you know, they had hammers, they were trying to
You know,
hit
it's important. You see,
the burglar-proof windows.
You have to be very cautious.
Yeah.
You have to be very careful.
Yeah.
If you are sitting in your houses, even at night, maybe chatting with your family, you know, watching TV, do not let your door open. I always tell my kids and my wife, please, if you are inside, close the door.
Close it,
you never know, a person can rush in with a weapon or something and start harming the family. So even it's 9 o'clock, just close the door. If someone wants to go out, you open it.
And it's interesting you say that, because for me it is good advice, because I think despite the fact we don't have lots of crimes of that nature, doesn't mean we should be complacent.
True.
Because you might be the unlucky one that something like that happens to it, because it's not as if we hear tales of that sort of thing happen, but it could happen. So you're right, when you're in there, even if you're there, secure the door.
Yeah,
You know,
definitely, definitely.
yeah.
So Julde, what's up? What do we have again?
So still on the Standard newspaper, NAM alleges foreign companies paid kickbacks to evade tax on petroleum products?
Imports.
Imports, yeah.
So is this the same story? Is this because all of them seem to have these NAMs and petroleum?
It looks like it. Maybe
GAM Petroleum Saga. The other one also is using the word Saga.
It looks like it.
This is foreign companies.
Yes.
So the other one is GAM Petroleum, so they are different.
Yeah, yes. The other one is, yes. So yes, it says foreign companies paid kickbacks to evade tax on it. Again, if a NAM makes that sort of allegation, we hope he has the evidence. And the NAM's picture is there. Jawara, it says National Assembly member Jawara is the one. Yeah. You
know, the NAMs, National Assembly members, since we elected them in office, how many bills have they implemented? How many of their discussions that, I mean, we are feeling, okay, now this is what happened, it's passed through the National Assembly, you know, we have agreed, you know, now this is, we are enjoying this as citizens or as representatives.
That's it's a very difficult thing to measure, because unless you can say, I'm going to follow a particular bill which has become an act, for example, the Access to Information Act, it's no longer a bill, that's something that you can trace and you can track and say what effect is it having? Are citizens able to make a request and get a response? So you'd have to, otherwise, we can ask the question, how many bills have they passed and what impact is it having on our lives? It's a very difficult one to quantify, very difficult one. Because also sometimes, people feeling good about themselves. You have people in very, very rich countries and they're dissatisfied, and they have everything we don't, and they're still dissatisfied. They have electricity, they have running water, they have good health service, good education, and they're still, human beings are like that. We will always find something to complain about. So unless there's something specific, then, it's very difficult one to say which bills have they passed that have impacted our lives. It's probably happening without us realizing it. So,
Let's take a look at speeding.
Yes, or as they call it here, overspeeding.
Overspeeding.
Speeding, overspeeding, yes.
Gambia,
this means
Gambia
speeding is
a Gambia
normal.
word.
Then it's normal to speed, but overspeeding is the problem.
Yeah,
Speeding causes most accidents on battle-hardened highway. Transport Union President.
Yes, I think if you yourself drive on the road, you will see the other day when it was raining really heavily, I was driving in the slow lane because I felt the rain was lashing down on the windscreen and the windscreen was going at maximum. And yet people were zooming by at 100 km and 110. And I'm thinking, this is not perfect, dry, sunny weather. Why are you driving like that? So it's not a surprise. And it's like that in all weathers. People speed, and it's as if the fact that we've now got good roads, instead of making it better, made it worse, because people now, they're not worried about potholes or anything. They just step on the pedal and they're gone. It's very, very fast.
And next minute
as
you
if
are
it's
gone
a
too.
race.
Well, this is
Something,
it. You know, we've seen how many cars. We used to joke about it. So the number of cars that had crashed into the roundabouts, the series of roundabouts that are along the length of the Bertel-Harding Highway. Every week you would see a car that had literally couldn't stop, and it just smashed into it because of the speed at which they were going. So yeah, I mean, we had a series of meetings where people from the various stakeholders, transport union, the police, and so on, came. Roads authorities talked about the fact that people need to take care on this road. Yes, it is made travel smoother and faster, but let's not overdo it. And the speeding is completely out of hand. There was an incident recently where a young man was killed. And one
you mean
car.
that the artist?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, or the brother of the artist, I think. Yeah, I don't know if he's an artist too. And yeah, it's a lot of the instances you see is because cars are speeding, and also because people don't want to give way, and sometimes they don't even know that they should give way.
No, people don't really understand where
they don't.
you should be speeding.
Yeah.
They don't know where the fast lane is.
And
Yes,
I'm
is that
glad there is
someone-
an advertisement going on now
Yeah.
to show
People
people
don't
this
look
is
at
the
those.
fast lane, this is
Julde.
the slow lane.
Yeah.
You think people consider those things? I mean,
They
most
really
of the
don't.
time people...
They don't even look at
I
that.
mean,
They
when you are on
just
the highway,
blank
it's
out.
good to sensitize the people.
Of
That's
course.
a good
Yeah,
one.
of course.
But that is teaching you. But at some point, we are still experiencing these accidents.
Yeah.
And people that watch those videos are the ones having this accident.
Yeah, and I also know, since I came to the Gambia, that when people drive up behind you and they want to overtake, they start flashing their lights at you. So if you see a grey RAV4 in front of you and the lane to my right is occupied and I can't move over, stop flashing your light. There's nothing I can do other than annoy you by slowing down in the fast lane. And I do it because you can see, I can see that I can't move because there are cars to my right, and I'm not going to go at 120 km just for your sake. So please, I am the guy that's annoying you by slowing down. If it's happened several times, I hate it.
I don't know what the
it's rude.
emergency
It's
is.
it's nothing.
Why are people really?
Just people
Listen,
people like to pretend they're in a hurry.
If you are on
What
our
is the
traffic,
emergency?
if you are slow, you need to use the slow lane, please.
That's what I'm saying. If
We
you
want
can't
to
get
speed.
into the slow lane
Yes.
because of
We want-
traffic,
we want
you
to
can't
speed.
move. You can't move. If I can move, I'll move. Of course, if I can move, I'll move.
Well, it's
But
not,
if I can see and you can see that there are a line of cars and I can't move in to that lane, then I'm sorry, I'm already going fast anyway. So I'm not going to go super
This is
fast
serious,
just for your...
yeah, there are people.
Pleasure.
There's a friend of mine. If
Yeah.
he buys a new car, he will tell me, "Wow, this car is fast." That's what he. I mean, I wonder.
that's the
why are
judgment,
you-
yeah.
What's the problem? What's the problem with the speed?
Yeah,
Is it not from destination A to B?
That's it.
At the end of the time, you will get there.
I
The
don't know.
life
You know,
you save could be.
For me, I've never gone above 90. Even when I was traveling to Basse few years back, I was driving 80. Can you imagine? And I got to Basse very early.
I was going to say it's fast enough. I mean, but some of them, they're trying to show off that they've got a powerful car. Some of them, they're just reckless. You know, I once took a taxi where my car was in the garage being, at the mechanics being fixed. I had to take a taxi. Normally, even if I drive well on that road, it might take about 30 minutes at the time, before the road was properly finished. This guy took 19 minutes to get from my house to the office. And I thought, And then, and I'm not kidding, at several times on that journey, I thought we were going to die because he kept going into the wrong lane, forcing cars off the road. So instead of them smashing into us, they'd rather go off the road.
He was driving your car?
No, it was a taxi that
it was a taxi?
that I hired.
And
just
you
for
didn't
the
say
day.
anything?
Listen, I could barely speak. I was so scared. I was petrified. It's the most scared I've ever been in a vehicle, honestly. It's the most scared I've ever been. So when he stopped, he said to me, "Shall I come and pick you up?" And I said, "My man, I would never get in your car again." I said, "No." And I told him, I said, "Why were you driving like that?" He said, "I thought you were in a hurry to get to the office." I said, "I never told you that." You know, he could have killed us.
Yeah.
You know, it was totally reckless. 19 minutes for what, even at top speed, my top speed would have taken about 30 minutes at the time because of the road conditions. And the guy was totally reckless, and he was as calm as anything, just you know, forcing cars off the road, you know, because when it comes to that, if the other guy is as crazy as you, then you're just going to smash into each other.
Yeah.
You know, but the others were sensible enough, like, I don't want to die, let me get out of the way. It was as bad as that. It really was shocking. Yeah.
It's crazy. Sometimes it's so serious that even if you're careful, you have someone, a reckless driver somewhere who will just come smash into your car and that's it.
When I was learning,
it's difficult sometimes.
it's very
in our
difficult.
roads. That's why I'm even skeptical of getting a
I
car
once
now.
bumped into a driver, you know.
Whose fault?
Yes.
Yours?
It was my fault.
Okay, it can happen.
You know, I was on the phone.
It can happen. Oh.
Yeah.
Another problem.
I was on my phone like this.
That's what here. That's a joke in the Gambia.
The traffic was
It's meant to be
Yeah.
illegal, but
The traffic was slow, you know. So I was like, oh, let me just check this message. When I checked the message, I was on my way to work. So
you heard
the traffic moved. On the whole, my vehicle was somehow moving,
Moving.
and I was like, boom. You know, so
yeah,
but I mean, when I alighted from the car, he also
recognized you,
and he said, I said, "Oh, it's my fault. I accept. I agree. I took full responsibility."
And that was it.
So he said to me, "Don't worry, it's all right." In fact, there is no
there's
damage
very
to my
little.
car.
Yeah, that can happen.
And I wasn't
and
speeding.
it's Ibrahim Balde.
I wasn't speeding. Some people don't know Balde. Some people will definitely
But
ask
you know
to
what? There
pay.
was a curious incident once by the petrol station at Manjai where a taxi stopped suddenly in front of me and I hit it and his bumper came off. And I offered to pay and the guy said no. I was really shocked. I said, how much is it going to cost? He said, no, it's okay.
all right,
I was like, I said, but it was, I know you stopped suddenly, but I'm the one who's hit you.
One of your viewers.
You know, I don't know. I was like,
and
people were really, because, you know, usually a crowd gathers. And people were really surprised. That guy was saying, no. And he picked up, I think the bumper actually fell off. And he picked it up and he was like, no, it's okay, I don't want your money. Hey?
Yeah, okay. So I mean, it's important for us to drive slow. Let's drive
and carefully.
slowly and carefully. Let's take heed. You know, I now I have a headphone in my car. Yeah. If I'm to pick a call, I use the headphone.
You hands free. I mean, when I was learning to drive, as the point I was going to make when Julia was speaking, my driving instructor said to me, once you pass, just assume that everyone else is a reckless driver, and you drive with care. And that phrase that has always stayed with me. You know, that everyone else, don't imagine that they are careful. You be careful and imagine all of them are reckless. And then you will take care, you know, of how you drive. So, yeah. Any more on the newspaper? Do we still have time?
So, when you get a car, drive slow.
If and when. She's doubting whether she's going to get one.
She will soon get a car.
I have a friend who moved here
I'll
from...
pray for her. You'll soon get a very nice phone.
But I have a friend who moved here from the UK, born in Jamaica. He grew up and learned to drive in Jamaica. And he's been here in the Gambia now for 7 years. And he said the way... And he's been a driver for about 60 years. He said he doesn't have the nerve to drive in the Gambia. He's never driven in the Gambia.
If you drive in the Gambia, you drive anywhere.
So Lascelles, if you're watching,
you know,
don't be scared. Get in and
So, I mean, let's talk about who do you think, which country do you think in Africa, you know, can be given, okay, these are the best drivers. They are very careful. They can drive very well. Wow. For me, I vote for Guinea. Guinea-Conakry.
Conakry?
I don't know. I mean, if you, I don't know the statistics,
Statistics,
because if you look at the statistics, having been
Yeah.
to Guinea, they're pretty reckless too. I think in Africa, generally, we have very poor sort of record across. Gambia is obviously one of the worst, but I think generally the statistics are not good for many African countries. But I don't know about Guinea recently, because my experience of Guinea relates to the 1960s up to about 1970, so things are very, very different now. A lot more cars on the road since then, but even then people were driving like madmen in Guinea and in Sierra Leone. Yeah.
Okay, all right. Especially this rainy season, we need to check our brakes.
Yeah.
Our brakes, our,
Yeah.
you know, the brake fluid. It's important for you to check your steering, pump, everything should be in check, because most of the time, this is the time that all those things tend to be faulty.
I came within this much of hitting a dog yesterday at the underpass by Coastal Road. Just ran across the road and I had to apply my brakes. And I was lucky that the car behind me was close, but not too close. So he was also able to stop. Otherwise, I would have just
What happened?
run
Your
over
brakes
the
were
dog.
not working?
No, it worked. I'm saying it worked.
Yeah.
Okay.
Otherwise, I would have.
Oh yeah, you
I
would have
killed-
bumped
I would
into.
have, I would have run over the dog. It literally ran almost under my car.
Oh.
Wow.
And I had to just stop suddenly. Otherwise, I would just squashed it. You know, and so that was a good sign that my brakes were.
No,
in-
the brakes
in-
need
Yeah.
to
in-
work. It's
in
very
order.
important.
Yeah.
You know. So that is Julde.
So
I
have we
think we're
come to the
almost
end, or do we
done.
have more?
Yeah.
the-
Newspaper.
Okay, you got a point there.
Yes.
I mean, I was discussing with, you know, sometimes at home I just discuss certain things with madam. We watched a movie, a documentary, where a dog helped find its killers. I mean, someone killed the dog
The
owner.
dog's master?
But yes,
Okay,
but
the owner's killer.
when the police came,
Right.
the dog was the evidence. Like they used the dog
Right.
DNA, you know, because the guy shot the dog and blood spilled all over his body. So they took his jacket, they compared it to the. So I said to her, I mean, you see, they tend to pet dogs. The dogs can't even sleep in your house. She said to me, dog will never sleep in my house.
No, we don't have a good record of
we
that.
believe,
Of that,
we believe
yeah.
in the Gambia, our dogs should sleep outside.
They're mainly guard dogs. They're not
Come on,
pets. They're
allow the
not
dogs
pets.
to go. I mean,
They're not
in
pets.
your house, in and out. Let's pet them.
In Europe, they will come on your chair and they'll sit right next to you here. They watch TV with you and all that stuff. We don't do that. We don't tend to do that. They are pets to an extent, but mainly they're kind of guard
No, we
dogs.
believe-
And we keep them to scare people off.
Scare,
more than
yeah.
anything else.
Yeah, we believe.
That is like it happens with the cats.
Mm.
Like you see, they pet cats and all of that.
I mean here.
But rarely, with dogs.
Yeah, but rare, very rare,
Rare.
with dogs. I mean, yeah, but in Europe and America and in the West generally, dogs are part of the family. And some people love their dogs more than they love their children. So, and they will
Most
tell
of
you
that,
that.
they use it for therapy, you know, because there's a friend of
In
mine
some
who,
cases, yeah.
if he's flying to the Gambia, he comes with his dog. And I'll be like, boy, I mean, you paid ticket for this dog? He'll be like, you don't
Damn
understand
right.
what this dog can do.
Yeah,
You know? So sometimes the way you treat animals too, it's very important.
Well, I know
Yeah,
somebody
it's good
who
to
is
be
thinking
kind
of,
to animals.
she's thinking of moving to the Gambia from America. And she wanted to come for about 2 or 3 months. And can you guess the reason why she hasn't come for 2 or 3 months?
What happened?
She doesn't want to leave her dog behind in America. I'm serious.
The dog, yeah.
Tell her we
Yeah.
have dogs here.
Yeah.
Lots
no,
of
but
them.
no, that's her.
By
dog.
the way, what happened to our canine dogs at the Gambia Police Force?
Yeah,
I've not been hearing anything about the
canines.
dogs.
Yes.
What happened?
Hey, you haven't asked. That's why they're probably busy.
What happened?
Doing
Gambia Police
great
Force,
work.
please give us an update. We want to know how our dogs are doing.
Yeah.
You know, we don't want them to be hungry.
Well, all you have to
they
do is
eat
ask.
kilos of meat a
They
day.
probably
Can
eat
you
more
imagine?
meat than the officers serving them. You know, they're not great fish eaters, but they love meat more than fish.
I'm telling you, and you
So,
can't
yeah.
give them fish, only meat.
Meat.
Yeah, even
correct.
the dog owner is not eating meat every day.
Exactly, and yet the dog is, and good quality meat as well.
All right, viewers. So thank you very much, Mr. Ade.
A pleasure, as
It was
always.
definitely a
Yeah.
very interesting interaction. I mean,
Yeah,
we
quite.
like sharing this platform with you
I like
Yeah.
being here. of
because we
course.
learn a lot.
Yes, yes.
I and Julde, we love you to be around.
And we learn a
Yeah.
lot from
Always,
Julde,
you
even
know, yes.
even when she's reluctant. When she
Exactly.
eventually gets to the quote, she
Exactly.
always has some
and just a
good
small,
insight.
A small
Thank you.
advertisement
Yes.
for Borom Konbi. She is selling ebe.
Waa koñ bee
Wow, we
kay.
Who
have
is?
Borom
Julde
Konbi
is?
ñëw na. We have
Zainab Chow
ebe.
Ndiaye.
We have the QTV ebe. So if you want it, wherever you are,
They're going to come
just
off
order.
the street.
Send us a message.
They're going to come off the street
Yeah.
and
Very
get
nice.
I'm saying this so that I can get a bowl.
it. She's
free.
sponsoring you
For
today.
free.
Advertisement no be free now.
All right, so we're
Yeah.
taking a short break. After the
Uh-huh.
break, the program continue. We'll be back.
Step into the Espas Motors showroom for your luxurious name brand vehicle. Located along the Bertil Harding Highway, Espas Motors is the Gambia's authorized dealer for Chery, Kia, Ford, and now we bring you the new Peugeot model 3008 SUV. 18-inch alloy wheels, 216 inches high ground clearance, keyless entry system, start and stop button, rear parking assistance system with reverse camera, adaptive cruise control with speed limit, LED daytime running lights, front and side airbags, 8-inch HD touchscreen. Not to forget our exquisite Peugeot Landtrek double cabin pickup with 2.1-liter diesel engine, 6-speed manual transmission 4x4, hill descent control, LED daytime running lights. Espas Motors, the authorized dealer for Peugeot. Visit us today or call us on 35-2222 or 353-4444. Looking for internet for your free videos, pictures, chats, work, and school projects? Think Free Night Browsing. QCell's Free Night Browsing lets you browse the internet for free. Oh yeah. Get a data SIM, recharge a minimum of $500 and enjoy free browsing after 24 hours from midnight to 6 a.m. every night for 30 days. QCell, Sunubus. We innovate, others follow. As the fastest growing GSM company in the Gambia, QCell has the widest 4G plus coverage in the country. 3 times faster internet speed than our competitors. So switch now and dial *335# and enjoy what true 4G feels like. QCell, the Gambia's trusted network.
We are back. You're watching QTV this morning. I am Ibrahim Osuri Balde, and much love to my namesake in the United States of America, Ibrahim Jawara. He's currently watching the program.
Yeah.
Ibrahima is the grandchild of Sir Dauda Kairaba Jawara.
Wow.
You know, our hero, our legend, our founding father. You know, Sir Dauda Kairaba Jawara. So, Ibrahima, we are saying hello and good morning to you and your family. Julde is also saying hello.
Hello.
He asks of you sometimes.
Really?
Yes.
Oh, nice.
Yes, Ibrahima.
Ibrahim, we are saying hello to you.
And you are
Thank
a
you for
namesake to Julde's son as
Yes.
well, Ibrahima.
Ibrahim.
Khalilullah. Yes, so we are back. Let's talk about Kush. We understand it affected a lot of lives and it's still affecting, you know. If we all put our hands on deck, we might be able to at least clear it from the Gambia. Now we have a young man here in the studio who helped people when it comes to how to take care of them when they are already affected by this drug, by the name Suleiman Jain. Suleiman ñu ngi laa dalal si programme bi naka nga def waaye swag bi leer na de drip bi mu ngi leer
na dara.
maa ngi amee benn xale fii QTV mu ngi tudda Churchill Balde dara la mënut si drip
Balde kooku mooy drip king bi de.
Churchill is useless dara la mënut
QTV yëpp kooku mooy drip king.
waaw so dañ bëggoon nga wax ñu yow lan nga xam si Kush bi
man jaaw ma si dara yàlla di jàppale di fi rek ku ma gis mu ko dala ma so daf lay métti nag comme soo ko jëlee moom mooy loolu
waaw
dañ lay add zombie ama
zombie
waaw ba pare
waaw
foo dee toog noonu parce que doo def dara rek mun ngaa toog noonu rek doo def benn action nit mu gis la
dinaa del si yow ñu ngi am vidéo bu ñoo play from Fatu Network. We are giving them the credit because seen video la and we need to recognize that, so we are playing that video and let's take a look at it.
The tragic death of 26-year-old Babukar Sarr, who allegedly consumed coos leading to severe self-inflicted injury, and another fatality in Esau, has become a pivotal moment for the ghetto youth of Bara. This tragedy has driven them to reevaluate their lives and seek a new direction. Former drug dealer emphasized the devastating impact coos had on young people.
Man sax dama ko doon jaay mosuma ko tux nag waaw because man dama gisoon gars yi di ko jaay muy jar waaw nit ñi di ko over jënd after taay bi dem na ba jaratul sax waaw ñun tam ñu dugga si man tam ma koy jaay sax waaw waaye waaw affaire yi faja bi nag moom soo ko gisee moom nekkul lu ñu gënal de wala nekkul suñu aim tamit waaw every time xam ma ñeneen waaye man saa su nekk maa ngi ñaan yàlla nu ma si génnee waaw xam naa ne keneen ak keneen tam noonu te booy tamit soo waxee lu ñu la dee wax mooy liggéey amut fii amuloo dara loo mën a liggéey nga am waaw faja rek nga mën a def nga am.
Although he was drawn to the drug trade by its profitability, witnessing the death of his friend compelled him and his peers to abandon both the trade and the consumption of drug.
bu ñu amee 3 days tamit bu li xapp ne si buuba after nag foofu la booy yëpp jaar nag waaw ku nekk nag ne moom bàyyi na kuus àdduna àllaaxira waaw ba pare ñu ne tamit kenn du ko fi jaayati waaw kenn du ko fi tux kenn du ko fi jaay waaw te depuis boobu léegi moom yàlla xam na ne kenn tuxatu ko fii kenn jaayatu ko fi te man xam naa ne tam booy yi bàyyi nañ ko.
Another former dealer and consumer highlighted how unemployment pushed them into drug trade. However, the tragic death of their fellow youth has led them to take a new role, serving as community enforcers against drug use, ensuring that their community abides by their new commitment.
ñun jaayoon nañ ko waaye ca ba nga depuis suñu accident bi dal fii jaayatuñ ko booy duñ ko dee jaay depuis boobu ku asifi xaalis pour ñu jaay ko ku seren ko dee nangu et ba anywhere ba police anywhere ko munti waa faale wuñ dañu jël xaalis bi ñu wala nga dem soo demutee ñu dóor la def na ko fi ñu bëri depuis problème boo noonu happen.
Young Suleiman Jani is celebrated as a hero for rescuing over 3 young men after they consumed coos. Despite suffering from severe bites from the victims, he shares his experience of saving lives and the challenges he faced.
Last time ku ma njëkk a jàppale moom ci club bi moom dafa doon dem after man film laa leen njëkk a presse fii tiitu ma ko téye fii after si laa leen bës li fi nam bi mais du wat ma loolu ma bës yi nii ma bëte moom dafa lay tëj gémmiñam bi moom du yore nga ibi gémmiñam bi so dama lay dugal ma loolu ma presse ma dugal ma loolu mu mata ko ma dugalaat beneen loolu mu mata ko surtout laa lay forcé ma loolu ma dem téye lamañ bi téye ko noonu after si laa lay jël ndox ma sotti ko ci gémmiñam bi parce que ndox bi bu dee jàll noonu moo ko lay dimbale si biir bi parce que lamañ bi daf lay solo ndox te tey ma loolu bi bam ni moom Banjul la woon moom dama moo téye moom dafa mata yu métti sax waaye dama téye ma xam ne comme bakkan laa nekk di siifam so after si laa dee ak moom.
Spoke to a group of young people who are now actively engaged in community outreach program to educate others about the dangers of coos. Alpha MK Lo, the president of Nyomi Youth, discussed the objective of their community engagement.
The goal is to ensure that coos is kicked out of Nyomi and by extension the entire country. We have started making efforts and success have been registered so far because this ghetto that we're right now, they've also taken it upon themselves from now on that nobody will sell coos here, and whoever that comes here to buy coos, if you're not careful, they will deal with you. So it's like community policing is coming to be lively within Lower Nyomi, particularly within the ghettos. So that is a massive success.
Recent reports from the Epidemiology Disease Control Unit of the Ministry of Health indicate a significant rise in coos-related incidents over the past 3 weeks. There have been 19 clinical cases and 11 additional deaths, bringing the total to 113 cases and a 20% increase.
Yes, I mean, very unfortunate, you know. Sometimes if you don't follow these stories, like they're fucking, okay, you know, why it's really growing and it's becoming a problem. Yo, kan nga xamne, okay, man li la wara def pour ma save ñi. Waaw.
Comme que la wala xam.
Waaw, kañ nga xam ne ok.
Li nga jàngala wala
li nga jàngala waaw.
Non, jànguma ko de.
Naka nga xamee ne ok nit su jëlee kus mu bugg a dee. So nii laa war a def.
Non, dama comme bu ma gis comme si club la woon. Dama taaw ni after ma gis kenn am na ko doon dimbale booyam. Fekk maa ngi taaw. waaye boobu mooy first time ma gis ko tamit so after nu ma gisee kooku action bu mu doon def after depuis that day si laa dee bàyyi nit comme lay bàyyi nit xel tous les tours si club bi so comme daloon ku ma jàppale moom dama comme maa ngi si club bi noonu rek after si laa dem ma toog moom fu mu toog nii dafa dara dafa siga nii rek so lu mu sigee noonu after man si laa ñëw maa ngi trade drink comme xam naa ko daal si laa ko ne booy am drink comme waaye bi ma ko ne booy am drink boobu moom dafa leen action daf lee tout si laa liyam ma gis moom mu ngi funke lii finam bi comme
waaw
fuuf nii
waaw
after si laa lii ma xam ne comme loolu affaire yi comme lamen bi la noonu after si laa presse fii am after bu ma presse fii am moom dafa jékki-jékki mu tëb after bu mu tëbee noonu man si laa jël suma loxo bi nekk di xettalaay ak moom doo suma loxo bi si gémmiñam bi waaye after nag daf ma mat after bu ma ko téye noonu téye naa ko ci club bi noonu ba gars yi ne ma téyel ma téye waaye after mu ngi doon wax comme bu ma ko téye noonu bi bu benn mu ngi doon wax after bu ma wax mel ne gaynde mu ngi wax after ma jox ko ndox buñ ko yóbbu ci beneen room bu nekk ci biir club bi after mu naan ndox after si la ne pour ñu di génne ci club bi ñu dem parti mais ne ko non non after kay dem lopitaan bi ñoo dem lopitaan bi nag after si leen dugg ci taxi bi bu ñu duggee ci taxi bi maanaam moom ci gannaaw fekk maa ngi àndaan naa benn boy ci club bi la nekkoon
waaw understand
moom promoteur la si leen nekk di dem te lopitaan bi ñu demaat ba si Johnson ni lopitaan bi fu mën a moom la kese ci gannaaw waaye after su may try pour dugal sama loxo bi ma dafay dóor sama loxo pour ma bàyyi ko after si laa ne beneen boy ma àndal
làmmiñ bi daf dee mel ni lu dee dugal si
waaw dafay demaat waaw moom bosam dat di ñaari yoon la doon demi sax after ma ko téye si club bi bu ñu demee ba si lopitaan bi Johnson si lopitaan bi mi war a dugal si lopitaan bi muy demaat after si laa téye ci laa dugal ma loxo mu dóor ma loxo ma beneen boy mu téye ma loxo bi after moom dafa doon dem ba taxaw si biir moto bi nii pour bañ ma téye ko after si laa dem ba tere ba téye ko after si laa yuuxu docteur bi noonu after docteur bi ñëw mu ne ma bàyyi mu ne ko di andi luñ ko téye
clip
waaw
pour ñu clip làmmiñ
clip ko waaw after docteur bi mu ne ma bàyyi mu ne ko non du ma ko bàyyi after si laa andi clip bi bu mu téye clip ba mu pare after bu mu ko téye pare after si laa ma doog a bàyyi man after si leen ko yóbbu te lopitaan bi waaye moom after si mu ne moom yéem moo doon miiti comme ci biir nii after buñ paree sax bañ ñibbi noonu te ëllëg bu mu ñëwee dafa ñëw moom bu mu ñëwee sax mënut a wax parce que man si laa ko ne demal ci pharmacie bi after si lañ ànd ci pharmacie bi ma dem after suma mag mu ngi foofu noonu si laa dem ma expliqué comme tim si nu mu fa demee after si la ko gars yi jox garab bu ñu ko jox nag daf ko lee toxal ci biir pour loolu muy faj ci biir.
ci biir waaw.
fekk dafa gaañu si biir yi.
waaw dafa gaañu si biir waaw. moom géejam dafa mujjoon a néew yi sax ci biir fii. dafa mujjoon a néew yi.
so aside from kooku ñaata moo coach related cases nga jàppale ñaata nit nga jàppale ñoo xam ne daal dañ use coach bi.
ñetta.
ñooñu yëpp si clock bi la.
non keneen ku dal moom xale la moom.
xale bu ndaw dafa laal couche. dañ ko jox na moom moo ko jël mu laal ko.
xaw ma dañ moom moo ko jël de waaye dama ñëw tombé loolu léegi. moom itam keneen ko doon jàppale kooku dafa commencé dal léegi moom mu daw. bu mu dawee ma ci laa ñëw gàttanu things. laa ñëw moom dafa xale la nag moom presque fii ndànk rek dugal sama loxo man moom waaye dafay dem ba dafay tëb comme. dafay tëb pour bu ma téye things waaye man dama koy presse ci suuf ci laa ko téye. ci laa ko sottil ndox tuuti waaye keneen ku mu daloon moom kooku moom mag la dama ñëw ma ne man dama mën a dugal sama loxo dama dugal sama loxo daf koo dog de daf koo maata. parce que dafa am doole mag la. bu fekkee maa ngi ma place sax parce que si laa bëgg ay yuuxu si oosima. comme ñun dañu demoon sax ba jox ma tur ñu ne ma may docteur bi foofu baax.
docteur yi
couche
waaw man maa ngi téye gars seen lamañ bi. parce que si laa dem gars yi andi pince parce que si laa traité nii ma def ko nii parce que si laa doon sotti ndox sax buñ ko génnee ci place bi noonu ba ngelaw bi xar koo laal. waaye temps boobu mu ngay dem si laa def nii rek parce que bu mu ubbee tuuti gémmiñ bi tuuti si laa dugal pince bi rek ma xëcc ko ma clip ko rek xëcc.
daamañ bi ñëwaat.
daamañ bi génn si waat nii ma téye ko foofu noonu dafa ko doon sotti émi ak ci ndox.
aside from làmmiñ bu dee génn noonu what other symptoms nga dee observe ne loolu lañ dee experience.
comme lan moo dee xew. su làmmiñ bu nekkee apart from làmmiñ bi. lan ak lan la gars yi dee wone pour nga war a xam ne kii couche la laal.
comme gars yi làmmiñ suy dem rek bi nga xam ne comme kii couche la laal. loolu moo tax.
so waaye yow cases yoo gis yëpp làmmiñ bi rek a dee dem.
waaw
am na loo waxoon tam am na dañ dee act comme zombie.
waaw zombie da nga act comme zombie wala nga toog rek da nga mun ngaa toog rek nga daanu nga dëpp. da nga mun ngaa toog rek nga daanu nga dëpp mun ngaa toog rek nga yuuxu su nekkee tamit da nga ko jël jigu la. da nga lay toog rek nga yuuxu wala nga jóg rek taw.
nga dof.
so yow
doo dof de waaye comme ñu nga def noonu dinañ xam ne kii kuus la laa parce que dafay lay def loolu xam ne comme nekkul yow yaa ko nekk di def daal.
so expérience boo am ak ñu dee jël couche nii suñ la ko waxee comme lan lañ dee feel lan lañ dee expérience time buñ jëlee couche da nga laajte gaay comme lan lañ dee feel ak expérience bi naka la mel.
non du ma leen dee laajte loolu nag. ma leen dee laajte loolu waaye dama dee comme gars yi suñ ko jëlee ba rek commencé foofu moom dama ko ne gis nga loo dal mu ne ma waa ma ko gis nga ko bu baax xam nga loo yëg mu ne ma waa waaye time boobu mënutoon a wax sax mënutoon a wax parce que mu ne ko yow soo demee dégg looy advice ak booy mu ne ma dafa advice gars pour gars bay couche.
so yow foog nga ne yow waa Baara nga foog nga ne ban Baara si boppam wala in ñoomi ban fan la hotspot bi nekk in terms of couche consumption.
fan lañ dee gën a laal.
waaw
fu mu dee gën a laal
fu mu gën a bëri.
fu mu gën a bëri
waaw.
non loolu xaw ma ko waxee.
so naratee analyse give us pour jox ñu an overview of couche si Baara. naka nga ko réetee.
bari naam bariwut.
non couche bariwul fa yee parce que moom ñu ko dee laal foofu moom bariwul moom. ko dee laal foofu
man sax dama bëgg a xam couche naka la mel.
couche man dama leen.
musuloo ko gis
musuloo gis couche.
musuma ko gis comme dama ko leen gis nii comme téye ko nii di ko xool nii.
so cases yoo ñoo rescue yëpp musuloo gis ñooñu fuñ amee loolu noonu oo fuñ ko téyee noonu.
non parce que kenn ki moom te lu ma wax moom bu mu ko doon jël mu ne moom comme ci kolo bi gars yi dañu nga ko fa tuure waaye man dafa ko jël asa si la dem ci wala bi mu tuux mu ñëw asa bu ñëwee moom bu ñëwee mu toog asa man c'est que man comme man fu ma nekkoon di kolo bi sax comme fu ma nekkoon amoon fu mu nekkoon sa nekkul benn man dama nekkoon ci comme ci VIP room bi asa si la génn ma toog ci ami toogu bi asa si côté bi si la ne pour dama nga toog yéen li comme ci toogu bi waaye fu ma def affaire ci la ma beneen booy bi gis ci la ma ko mais pour ma toog affaire ci la ñëw toog nii affaire fu ma toog moom ci booram la affaire ci la ko ne am njëriñ waaye moom deful benn action. waaw ci la téye la am.
waaye yow kooku xam nga ko.
xam naa ko
so aside from couche ban beneen drogue lañ dee gën a jëfandikoo in Baara xale yi góor
Baara ñoom taay bi rek la jël nag de.
taay
bi
dafa bëri.
non.
waaye ñoomi we have ñoomi.
waaw ñoomi.
ñoomi affaire si bu you know.
ñoomi kay.
waaw so loolu la rek that is what it is so léegi da nga bugga nga taxawal mbootaay boo xam ne dañoo dimbale nit ñi si couche ndaxte tam soo taxawalee mbootaay booy jàppale nit ñi si couche xam nañ ne yaa ngi fii pour jàppale nit ñi dañoo gën a dugg si couche bi de dañoo ne sa waa ji moom mu ngi fi daf ñooy jàppale
non kay léegi dafa tundee gars dafa tundee parce que loo xam ne da nga koy suma la rey moom amul njëriñ moom booy kay may loolu wax naa gars bay ko
xalaatuloo ne di nga comme any taxawaay mbootaay wala organisation association ni pour jàppale xale yu góor yi oo xale yu ndaw
suñ ko bu ma ko amee kay jël loo xam ne dinañ jàppale nit kay
léegi fu mu nekk nii yow li nga nekk di def nii danga si jéem a train kenn pour mu jàppale ñi especially ñoo xam ne daal dañ consume couche bi ndax yow jéemuloo train kenn
non train ma si kenn de waaye xam nañ ñu ko dee defee
xam na ñu ko dee defee
am na ñoo xam ne dégg nga suñ seen làmmiñ bi duggee dañ ko dee génnee ñu ñëw ko ak seen lifini loolu la docteur yi dee
waaw
dañ dee génnee làmmiñ bi ñu teg ko si tuuñ bi si kaw ñu ñëw ko ak tuuñ bi pour bu mu daanu si biir what a pain
am na ko ne boo xam ne man fekkee ma ko de waaye comme buñ ma ko wee man dama daw foofu noonu waaye man dama fekkee gars yi yóbbu nañ ko lopitaan sax laa daw waaye bu ma demee si lopitaan dama fekkee tam gars yi ko ñëw waaw dañ jël làmmiñ bi ñëw ko ak tuñ bi
waaw
lu ko jar soo léegi yow lan nga nekk di def da nga nekk di dem school da nga nekk di def business oo lan
waaw man ci place dama nekk di jaay gasoil
gasoil ok yow dealer nga gasoil dealer ah nice. Okay, thank you very much. Ban la mujanteli kaddu ban nga am. Léegi yow hero nga de. Léegi yow jàmbaar nga. You know, àddina bi yëpp mu ngi laa seetaan fu mu nekk nii. You know, so xam naa ne ñu bëri tam dinañ bugga pour toog ak yow ñu waxtaan. You know, lu bëri xëj na si diggante bi ndaw nga. yow demaaguloo fen yaa ngi jàppale nit ñi so looy def mooy just yow focusal sa life ba pare nga gën a taxawal sa community comme foo dëkka nga taxaw nga jàppale leen you know kenn xamutoon ne di nga ñëw QTV tey nga toog fii boo doon def loolu noonu yow da nga doon dimbale rek waaye xamuloo woon tey di nga ñëw fii toog àddina bi yëpp gis la so ñun dañ bugg a fii si QTV ñuy puugaroo suñ nit ñi buñ dundee liggéey buñ fi def ak nu ñoo jàppale nit ñi bu nekkee lu tuuti la sax ñu won ko àddina bi xamuloo ëllëg lan mooy happen waaw te pareel dinañ la invite ay conférence yu bëri yoo xam ne kus la pour nga dem nga wax foofu noonu so nga pare dégg nga waaw
so ban mujjanteli kàddu o advice nga amal ndaw yi
ñoom ñoo xam naa ñu bay comme mande bu miti bi rek mande bu miti moom na ko gay bay bo
mande ñu bay mande bu miti bi
ci luñ ci góor moom la toog
waaw
war loo toog de góor moom
waaw da nga taxaw de liggéey waaw mun nañoo dem pati sax waaye after liggéey la waaw soo liggéey doo pati de doo am xaalis booy pati yeah so thank you very much Julde you know, I think we'll close the program here.
Exactly. So, Lola, we can all contribute in our little ways to, you know, change the narrative. But sometimes it's not all about money. You don't need resources to change the life of other people. Changing or saving the life of others doesn't need much. You just have to make in, you know, put in the effort and then so it requires concerted efforts from each and every one of us. You fight this menace of Kush, and I am hopeful. I'm optimistic. This fight against Kush. So Balde, I guess.
Yeah. So thank you very much. Thank you very much. Yagana nyogis tay, yagana nyogis manis cigarette. Understand? Yagana nyogis yep. Why Kush mom? It's very serious.
Yalla
te I believe ne séeréer rek ñoo ko nekk di laal baara ñoom ñoo de fis foofu noonu laal leen rek go ahead soo leen ko laale man lu ma def mooy dama make sure soo leen laale call leen ma man suma xicca lamiñ ak mbéj mooy ànda all right, so this is all we have for you. Enjoy the rest of our program. So until we come here again, bye-bye.